Happy Sunday, Reverend Bill Kinison.
Oh. Boy, you always like throwing that Reverend in there, don't you?
I forget. You know, it's been so many years.
That's all right. They used to call Jesus a rabbi. So that's okay. Welcome to the Gospel According to Kinison. I am your illustrious host. I am your man, Bill Kinison. And we want to welcome you to a morning of truth, of power, and liberty.
Good morning, Jeff Seach. He was the first one.
Seach.
Misty Soper.
First, I want to thank Jeff for straightening us out because we've been mispronouncing his name ever since he joined us. But it's Jeff Seach.
Yes. Jeff McLaughlin, Misty Soper.
I was thinking of Misty this morning. I love her. She's a sweetheart.
Danny James.
Joe Jeff Sumter. And Joe Sumter. I talked to Joe a couple times yesterday.
Good morning, Jack Friedman.
And my man, Jack.
And you know he's posting already.
Oh, that's right. So subscribe to the Gospel According to Kinison on YouTube. We're getting more and more people that are actually looking or watching it on YouTube.
Good morning, Mike Boyle and Miss Kimberly.
Yes, ma'am. Love both of them. They're close to my heart.
And Mike Boyle says, hi, Bill and Sherry.
And hi right back to him. And him and Kimberly.
Yes. And I think the names go so fast sometimes.
Well, take your time.
Yeah, I just...
You know, and when is it, tomorrow or Tuesday you have a birthday?
I'm just living life. I'm celebrating life.
Well, you don't have to tell me how old you are, but you're, what is it? What's today?
Today is Sunday.
What?
March 3rd.
Okay, tomorrow is your birthday.
Yes.
My baby's birthday.
Jeff McLaughlin says, love the look, my dapper brother. Good morning, Michael Mesmer and Barbara Britton.
Both. Love both of them. Love all of you.
Steve Kaufman and
Autumn.
Autumn, happy birthday. Oh, thank you.
Oh, to you?
To me, yes.
Oh, all right.
And Misty says, our church family is growing. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And my cousin Paulette Cup.
I love Paulette.
And Jeff, you're right. 29 and holding.
Oh, my Lord.
Thank you, Mike. Izzy Machayo is watching.
Well, God bless her.
Thank you, Jeff. Happy birthday, Sherry. They're sending me birthday wishes.
Well, that's the reason I announced it. You deserve it. The best woman I've ever met in my life.
Oh, Izzy Machayo is from Guatemala.
Yes, she is.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Misty. Love you, Paulette.
Well, when you get all through, let me know. Take your time. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Izzy. I know you all want to hear Bill preach.
Well, oh, God. Go ahead and keep talking about your birthdays.
No.
Let me pick this.
Birthdays are fun. They're just to be celebrated. About life is for living, and live as much as you can, y'all. So, I'm telling you, I've been with him 51 years, Joe. Oh my gosh, how does that happen? I guess when you're meant to be, you're meant to be. See, Joe Sumter put, what's a young hottie doing with such a dapper of a dude?
Well, he's right about that. I've readily admitted that I shot completely over my head and got lucky, or you could say God blessed me.
Yes.
With the wife that I have, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I felt that way from the day that I fell in love with her.
We've always been a dream team.
Yes, we have. Sometimes it's been a nightmare for people, but it's always been a dream to us.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Well, Sherry.
Yes, sir.
We've had a couple weeks here.
We have. Well, it's been a week.
I'm not going to dwell on this, but I think some of you probably are wanting to have some idea of what has been going on. A little over, I guess, a week ago.
Almost 2.
Almost 2 weeks, I got bronchial pneumonia. That turned into pneumonia. That turned into congenital heart failure. Then on top of that, which I didn't even know, I had a mouthful of blisters that I didn't even know. That's how out of it I was from foot, mouth, and hand disease. And there was a couple days there, Sherry. They didn't know. We've had 4 doctors that's been working with us. And but I want to tell you what I think. There's one thing that kept in my mind. I don't remember last Sunday. I hope you didn't let me embarrass myself, Sherry.
Never.
But I really don't remember what I told you here in our message. I hope it was good. And it turned out to be a lot worse than what we had thought. And but there was something, Sherry, that I had taught and stayed in my mind. And that is the truth of me. And you probably heard me walking around here going, this is not the truth of me. This may be the facts. I may have pneumonia. I may have congenital heart failure. I may have this other stuff. That's not the truth of me. The truth of me is I'm well. The truth of me says, let the weak say I'm strong. Now, I'm going to try to not get so excited this week. Sherry said I got way too excited last week and everything, and so I'm trying not to get too excited. But I want you folks to know something. All of us are making this journey. And none of us has had this journey before. I'm no different than you all. You go through things. Sherry and I go through things. It's been a long time since I went through anything physical like this. And I do want to thank every one of you that sent messages, that sent good thoughts, that prayed for me, that gave me advice and recommended treatments. It was all very, very grateful for it.
Yep.
And but I want you to know that God in me and God in you is not limited by what other people and what doctors are going to tell you. Do I pay attention? Yes, I pay attention. I think God gives people abilities to help us, and it's up to us to take advantage of those folks. But the bottom line is, what is the truth of you? Is the truth of you you're poor? Is the truth of you is that you're sick? That you're depressed? That you're lonely? No, that is not the truth of you. Somebody said, but it's the facts. I don't care what the facts are. I'm interested in the truth. Facts don't make me free. Truth makes me free. Truth makes me free. Thought of a scripture this morning, Matthew 19:26. With God, all things are possible. Mark 9:23. All things are possible to him that believeth. There's only one thing that nobody can take away from you. No one can take it away from me. They can do whatever they want to do. They can pass laws. There's one thing they can't take away from us, and that is the truth of you. The truth of me. And that truth is, you are a child of God. That's the truth. One of the greatest scriptures in the verses of scripture that I love so much are the words of the Apostle Paul. And I probably quote this, I would say probably more than any other scripture that I quote. And it's this, in Romans 12:2. Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed. How? Not by a rapture, not by Jesus coming and getting you and giving you a fire escape out of here just before it gets really bad. After he told you, I want you to be overcomers. He even went so far to say, I want you to be more than an overcomer. He said he wants you to be able, and what is an overcomer? An overcomer is one that just comes over. There's a problem, he just comes over. He just comes over. That God in you. Be not conformed to the world. I'm not going to listen to this body. I'm not going to listen to the world mind. I'm going to be transformed by the renewing of my mind. I need to get out of the old thoughts. I need to get out of the old ways and have a renewing of my mind. This means do not accept things as they are if you don't like them. If you don't like them, don't accept them. If you're in a poverty condition, you don't have to accept that. If you don't have any money, you don't have to accept that. You control your destiny. You don't have to conform to poverty. And I know that, and I know a lot of you because you've shared with me things you're going through, and believe me, I pray with you every day. And you have shared with me things that you're going through. Well, I want to tell you something. You don't have to conform to poverty. I don't care what Bidenomics says. I don't care how bad it looks like the economy is. I don't live according to that. I refuse to conform to poverty. We don't have to conform to ignorance. We don't have to conform to sadness. You don't have to conform to depression. And I know that at times we battle these things, but be changed. How? By the renewing of your mind. This is why I get up every Sunday morning and I teach you this. Usually I feel great, but if I don't, I preach myself well. I teach myself well. I've told you many times that I get up and I teach what I'm teaching to me. I need to hear that. This morning I need to hear this. And I know that it's going to change you. Change your conditions by changing your self-image. Oh, man. I'm going to try to stay calm, but it's tough. It's tough. It excites me. The way I'm going, I'll probably be completely 100% well by the time I'm through with this lesson. Your conditions are not going to change until you change your self-image. It's not going to change until other people change their ways. Forget about that. Forget about that. But change your self-image. How are you looking at yourself? Some of you getting older, and you're accepting what you've always been taught about getting old. You're not as young as you used to be. You can't do this. You can't do that. Don't tell me that stuff. I've never been old before. So let me find out on my own. Because I want to find out. I still want vitality. I still want strength. I remember when I was young, I used to declare them when I was up preaching. That I may not, when I get to be 75, which is what I am now, came quicker than I thought it would, by the way. Anyway, I used to tell them when I'm 75, I may not look like I'm 25. But I plan on looking like the best 75-year-old that I can possibly be. You see, change your self-image. One way to change your self-image is by talking yourself up. Just like I did this past week when they wanted to put me in the hospital, and I knew that if I went in that hospital, I wasn't going to come out. At least not alive. And they wanted to put me in that, and I went, no, that is not the truth of me. The truth of me is health. The truth of me is happiness. The truth of me is joy. The truth of me is peace. That is the truth of me. Sickness is not the truth of me. It may be the fact. I actually had one doctor tell me, well, Bill, you need to accept the facts. And I go, no, I don't. I believe in the truth of me. I believe in the real truth of me that makes me free. That's why I love the slogan, I am somebody. Whoa! I got a drink to that. I am somebody. You are somebody. Whatever situation that you're in right now, you are somebody. You're not just a nobody going through this life. You're somebody. God made you in His image. He made you in His likeness. And He gave you power. Sure, don't even bother me now. Don't even bother me now. He gave you power over everything. Start declaring your victories. Start declaring your healing. Declaring your blessings. If you learn how to talk yourself up, then nobody will ever be able to talk you down. Believe me, I don't allow anyone to talk me down. What I am saying reminds me of another beautiful verse of Scripture. And it's in Job 22 and 29. When men are cast down, thou shalt say. Now listen to this. This is what I'm saying to you this morning. When men are cast down, when men are depressed, when you turn on the news and the world's going to hell, and when you're seeing all this bad stuff, well, when men are cast down, thou shalt say, there is a lifting up. And there is a lifting up going on right now, folks. There is a lifting up right now. It's not up to other people. They can't stop you. Somebody said, but I have no alternatives. Yes, you do. You're the Son of God. Start speaking what you want. And by all means, remind yourself every day that you're a child of the living God. Whenever things look bad, you should say there's a lifting up. I have the power to change my conditions by changing my mind. There's a reason you got into that mess, and it's usually because of how your thinking was. So you want to change that. Change your thinking. Continually say, I am somebody. Sherry gets up every morning, and every once in a while it annoys me. Because the first thing she'll do is get up, because years and years ago I used to teach the church folks, when you get up, start the day with, I feel great, I feel great, I feel great. Well, years later, 50, 60 years later, or 50 years later, Sherry still gets up going, I feel great, I feel great, I feel great. So it works. It works. Your positive belief in yourself will lift you out of any negative condition into a more positive experience in life. You can do that. You can do that. If you think you're a nobody, guess what? You will be a nobody. If you believe in yourself as somebody, you will lift yourself up and you will be somebody. Tell yourself that you're having what you want to have, and you're doing what you want to do, and then do it and have it. Oh, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. I've told you about my brother Richard over and over and over. And because it's the greatest miracle I've ever seen. But the funny thing about Richard was when he couldn't see, when he couldn't retain any knowledge, when he couldn't spell his name, when he couldn't do any of those things that a little 5-year-old could do. Whenever anyone asked him what he wanted to be, this blind, mentally handicapped, uncoordinated little boy would tell him, I'm going to be a preacher. I've never heard him ever in his life ever say he wanted to be anything else. But he didn't say, I want to be. He'd go, I am going to be a preacher. He could have let the situation break his spirit when they wanted to put him into a state institution. He could have let that break his spirit. But nope. He wouldn't become discouraged. He refused to get discouraged about it. But every time they asked him, what do you want to be when you grow up? He'd straighten up, stick out his chest. He's just a little boy like me. Lift up his head and said, I'm going to be a preacher. I'll never forget one time we were in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. If you think that preachers are going to encourage you, you might be mistaken. We were in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. We were just kids at a convention, and a preacher, I didn't know that one day would end up being my father-in-law, named J.R. McFadden, stepped up in the middle of his message, and he went to the front row where Richard and I were sitting. And he told Richard, who couldn't see him. I don't know if Richard really understood what he said. But he went over and he told Richard that one day he would be a preacher setting the fields on fire. Thank God you're around people that are prophets. Thank God you're around people that know the voice of God. Reverend McFadden was ostracized. You can believe it. He was ostracized by the preachers because he had said such a thing to, and as they said, that retarded Kinison kid. Why would you tell that retarded Kinison kid that he's going to be a preacher? And the Reverend McFadden didn't even know who he was at that time. Well, Richard believed he was somebody. And he knew it. And he knew it then as a handicapped kid in the church. And knowing and believing that brought Richard out of that condition and brought him to a wonderful experience of success and prosperity. So don't tell me your hard luck story, because I know all about so-called hard luck. And I know that what you believe about yourself is what you will experience. I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for Sherry, I'd probably do a little dance right here like Richard used to. You have to talk yourself up. And you have to tell yourself that you are somebody. I remember when Richard and I were traveling in the ministry, and I was worried about, the money. So I'd stay like in a Motel 6. Rich would go to one of the nicest hotels. He wouldn't even stay with me. He'd go to one of the nicest hotels. And I'd tell him, Rich, you're wasting your money. Why are you doing that? And his answer was, Sherry standing there smiling and laughing about, because she knew what he was saying. He'd always tell me, because it makes me feel like I am somebody. And after he told me that, I said, brother, you stay wherever you want to stay. When you know you're somebody, you lift yourself up. You'll rise above your negative conditions. You'll be able to be what you want to be. You'll be able to do what you want to do. And you'll have what you want to have. You see, this is what you have to do with your self-image. You have to manipulate it to believe in yourself positively and correctly. When somebody asks you, are you going to amount to anything? Because I hear them asking kids that all the time, or at least used to be when I was a kid. I don't know why they'd tell you that. Are you ever going to amount to anything? And you know what I want you to say to them, and I want you to teach your kids to say to them? Yes, I am somebody. I am somebody. Say yes to your dreams. Say yes to your lofty aspirations. Say yes to that vision that's in your heart. Say yes to that positive idea that keeps coming to you. Say yes to that fire that keeps burning and keeps you going in spite of how everything looks. Say yes to that wheel that keeps on turning. And if you do, you'll find that they can't take that away from you. No one can. It's you inside. It's that God in you. Whatever you feel about yourself, whatever you believe about yourself, must come to pass. There isn't any alternatives here. There isn't any such thing as, what if it doesn't work out? It works. I'm proof of it today there, folks. Doctors didn't expect me to be doing this program today, but they don't know the God in me, and I'm not lambasting them at all. Like I said, we need to take advantage of the talents that God gives to people. Whatever you feel about yourself, whatever you believe about yourself, must come to pass. And nobody can take that away from you, because you are somebody. A poet, Henry David Thoreau, once said, "Things do not change. We change, not things." And yet we keep thinking that if this or that will change, then I'll be changed. No. Things do not change. We change. Another orator named Paul Valery wrote this: "You must live as you think. If not, sooner or later you will end up thinking as you have lived." Live as you think. Now I want to give you one more from Dale Carnegie, which I'm sure all of you have heard. If you tell me how you get your feeling of importance, I'll tell you what you are. That determines your character. That is the most significant thing about you. That was by Dale Carnegie. Folks, we fight battles. I'm not here to tell you that you don't. You're going to fight battles. That's how you get strong. You're going to have times. I'm one of them that, I'm definitely not going to lie to you, but I'm going to tell you the truth of me. That may appear not to be the truth as you see it, but the truth of me. I'm not sick. I'm not poor. I'm not depressed. I'm not a valley dweller. I am a son of God, made of his flesh, made of his bone. As I look in the natural, I guess Kinisons have a strong genes in our bodies, because everyone that's born a Kinison, they look like a Kinison. And that's my natural, that's my humanly identification, is I'm a Kinison. But you know what I am before that and after that? I am a child of God as much as Jesus Christ was a child of God and is a child of God. You see, a mind is troubled only because he troubles his thoughts and feelings with negative statements, or he permits his thoughts and feelings to be troubled. Jesus said, and there's a big radio political commentator, and he finishes his program every day with, "Let not your hearts be troubled." That's what Jesus said. Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. And when he said in me, he meant as the Son of God. So he's really saying, let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God and believe in you. Believe in your own divine sonship. Christians are going to be shocked with what I'm about to say. I don't know how much time I got left, but it's all right. Christians are going to be shocked with this. It's not enough to believe that the person Jesus Christ. Sherry's all excited now. She's got that fist up. It's not enough to believe that the person Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago was the Son of God. That's not enough, Sherry. We have not yet become to the saving, delivering, and blessings until you believe you are the Son of God. That is the determining factor. I want to close this morning with something that I wrote, and I wanted to ask you folks to just take this for a few moments. I want you to do something today. When this program's over, or you can do it now, I want you to look at yourself in a mirror, and I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to remember what the United States that you grew up in was like. I want you to do that. I want you to look in the mirror or just close your eyes. And I want you to think what the United States of America that you grew up in was like. Remember growing up, playing in the neighborhoods, not worrying about people that came into our country illegally that could possibly kill you or harm you. Not worrying about your candy being laced with drugs. Not worrying about someone hurting you as you went to school or the mall or sitting on the porch of your house. I want you to remember how great the United States of America was. You could pray in class. Sir, do you remember every morning before school started, you'd have to stand and cross your heart and then say the Pledge of Allegiance? And back in those days as a child, you were proud to be an American. They taught us to be proud to be an American. Now tonight, when you put your children or your grandchildren to bed, I want you to ask yourself this question. What America is your children going to grow up in? We are coming to the most important election of our lifetime. I really believe by our actions we will either be a third world country or a socialist country, or we will continue to be a democracy. When you vote, and I hope all of you vote. If you don't vote, you have no say. I'm not interested in anything you have to say. But when you vote, vote as an American. That may be a new experience for some of you. Don't vote as a Democrat. Don't vote as a Republican or Libertarian or as an independent. Be an American. Vote as an American. Forget about personalities and who you like or you don't like because of how they act or they speak. Pick the one who is able to do the job for the love and commitment to America. That's what's important. Sure, do you realize that some folks, they grew up a certain way, be that a Republican or a Democrat, and they have never strayed from that. And they forgot to be an American. I want all of you this morning, I want you to know that I love you. Sherry loves you. God loves you. I thank you for the prayers and the positive thoughts that you sent my way. I don't think I would have been here this morning if you hadn't, and I'll always love you, and I'm always here for you. Sherry, if you got anything you want to add, then I just...
Have a great week. Just remember you live life.
Also, almost forgot, Sharon Stein, I think they vote tomorrow in California on hers. I believe she's a write-in candidate. I would like for you to consider her. I like Sharon, and I think Sharon is an American first. She may be a Republican, but I think she's an American first from every time I've talked to her. Anyhow, God love you, God bless America, and God continue to bless Israel. We'll see you next week.